we are here. So, if some of you might know, Federico had a very successful book that came out before, which is called Light and Dust. And I have shared with some of my email newsletter subscribers that that is probably the best photography book I've ever seen, from the photography skill and the whole design and the emotion in it, and also the quality of the print. And it was sold out. I have friends who were trying to get your book used, and it's like more than $800 and all. And I know you might have some good news for people who might be interested, so we'll talk more about that. But the key thing, just like what Carl was saying, is that you have a new book coming out, which is called Live. And I didn't even hesitate this time when you just had the Kickstarter began, I think 2-3 weeks ago. I immediately jumped in and bought the book. And I know a lot of you, actually, I think it probably broke some of the records of reaching your goal of the fundraiser in like 30 minutes, right? After you
start. Yeah. It's been,
Yeah, so
it was quite amazing. Yeah.
Yeah. So why don't you tell us more about this book and how you came up with it and everything about it. Yeah.
Sure. It's a pleasure. My first book, Light and Dust, also there was some black and white in it, but it was primarily a color book, and it was focusing a lot on the lighting, what we've talked about, the backlight, the dramatic lighting, and so I wanted to make a different book. I didn't want to repeat the same, and in the last few years I've always liked black and white, but in the last few years it has really become my strongest passion and strongest interest. So this book is going to be mostly black and white. There will still be some color in it, and the color so it will be a play between black and white and color, but with black and white strongly predominant.
I see.
So basically, the idea of the book is called One Life, and we can basically the main idea came one December afternoon in 2017. That's about 3 years ago. So I was in the Serengeti in Tanzania. I was with some guests, and I was photographing. I was looking at lions as always in the endless plains of the Serengeti, where the beautiful rocky outcrops are. They're called kopis. They're kind of islands of rock in a sea or in a sea of grass, and often you find lions, cheetahs, leopards on these rocks. So it's a really amazing place and an amazing landscape. And on that afternoon, I found a tiny lion cub, where a lioness with two tiny lion cubs, and on a specific rock. And as I was photographing, I realized that just a few months before, I had photographed in exactly that same spot an adult male lion, a very old male, and who eventually was the father of those cubs. But they were exactly in the same position. I don't know if you want to bring out the two images, Tinman, to give an idea of.
Yes, I already. While you were talking, I already brought out the two photos. I don't know if you can see it yet.
Okay, they're there. Okay, because I don't see what's. Oh, good.
Yeah, because there's a few seconds of delay. So I already put the cub photo and. And then the male client. So please keep talking.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay. Good. Sorry. So when I saw this image, I thought, look at this. These two lions are exactly in the same position, in the same spot, and on one side, it could be seen as the circle of life in a way. The father is the father, and then the son coming on the same path as the father. But more interestingly, I thought this could be the same lion. Actually, if I switch the images around, this could be the tiny cub, the same character. Just after being born, and then we meet him again in the same spot in this case 12, 13 years later in a lion's life. And in the meantime also my son was born in June, so in between these two moments my son had been born. So this was also a moment for me to make a reflection on my life, on my journey. So I had the idea of kind of weaving together my story, my life in a way, to that of the animals, and kind of represent it through the animals I have photographed through the years in Africa. And the rock could be a fantastic stage. So in the book, the rocks will feature prominently. It's not only animals on rocks, but the element of the rock is a recurring element throughout the story. And so basically, it's the story of a life where the character is one, but it's interpreted kind of. It's basically interpreted by a different subject in every image who just carries the story forward, but is the underlying character ideally is only one. So that's the idea of the book. And through this journey of life, we have a chance to encounter different animals. We have a chance to traverse, to walk across different places, some of the most beautiful places where I love the most to photograph. So it's a way also to show the places that I love and the animals that I love, and some different styles of photography.
That's fascinating, because I'm just looking at these two photos, right? And you mentioned about at first I didn't even know they were at the same spot, because the cup is so small. But when you look at the lines on the next to the cup, you realize it's actually the same one. But because the cup is so small, it get into the same place, which is interesting too. Because I wonder if is it because the cup was following what the father was doing.
No, actually, the father, when I took the photo of the cub, the father wasn't even there. So
Really?
it was just purely coincidental that they were on the same rock.
Wow,
It
that
was
is
purely
really,
coincidental.
that is really
It was
moving.
like,
And Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah,
it-
yeah, and I
the
wonder if
father by now,
yeah, please go ahead. Yeah.
yeah. No, the father was not was still in the territory, but it was not with them in that moment. So it was just purely. You can also see in the cub's picture, you can see the mother behind, kind of looking at her baby.
Yeah,
You can
it's
see the top of
fascinating. Yeah,
head
the,
of
the
the mother.
tension
Yeah,
behind the mother
yeah, yeah,
watching it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's almost like the mother said, "Okay, I'll just
exactly.
let you be there for a few seconds before father came back or something." Yeah, I see. So that was the reason to begin this book. I really love this concept, because I mean we all like sorry to add these sentiments in it, but I think we all, like humans, animals, we all share the same planet. And from getting this really grand landscape, right, with the rocks and all, like timeless, with the lion coming and then the cub coming,
Yeah.
it really sent a very strong message of how we all share this same planet together, right?
Absolutely. That's the idea of the title. It's one life. The life is shared by all of us. The sentiment, the feelings of life that accompany us throughout life are the same, from the lion to the leopard to the elephant to us. And so in many situations hopefully the reader will kind of maybe see him or herself in the situations, in the emotions. So that's the idea of the book, to create a connection between reader and our companions on the planet, as you say.